Okay, we are now ready for our next speaker. So I'm going to introduce now Nicholas Prince. He's the CEO and founder of Prinsegate Surveying. So I'm going to hand over to Nicholas, so give him a warm welcome.
A little bit more. Come on, I'm nervous. Thank you. I love that. I already have my #1 fan here. We haven't met before. No. Okay. Great. Thank you all for attending. Perhaps I should have been a bit more explicit about what that actually means. So, this company was set up with your future in mind. I'll unpack all of this as we go along. But first, can we do a bit of a social experiment, if you're up for it? Yes. Yeah. Okay. If you're able to, please put your things on the floor and just stand up for me. That's it, good. Right, we're all ready to go. I'm going to put the microphone down. You can hear me quite loud and clear, yes? Okay, I'll leave this here. So as surveyors, we identify complex issues and try to solve them. So let's begin with something very straightforward. If we hold our hands out in front of us like this, and now turn them over like this, and just cross them, and then interlock the fingers. That's it. Keep them nice and crossed and squeeze tight, and then on the count of 3, just twist. Very good. You're going to be perfect surveyors. Thank you, please. Please be seated. Right, that got your brain working. Okay, right. Let's move on to what we're about. Let's see if this clicker works. Okay, so we started in 2014. Nearly a decade of absolute slog. The amount of time and money that has gone into setting this up for everyone's benefit, which you'll see in a moment exactly what makes us quite unique. I would say we're arguably, no offense to any other surveyors and any other surveying practices here, who's working for who's here representing a company already? Raise your hand. Okay, good. I can get away with a bit more then. I would say we're probably the fastest growing surveying practice in the UK. Our growth has doubled, even tripled year on year. Why is that? I would say by and large, it's not just because, look, let's be very honest. We all need to pay rent or mortgage. Yes, we need to be earning as much as possible to put food on the table. But we have something extra. We have this really lovely community that we've developed. And our family house, we are a family-run business. Our house is like a pub. So if ever you're in Surrey, just let us know, because you can rock up and just spend the night if you want. We're all very close-knit. And I think everyone knows about mental health awareness. You see it all the time being spoken about on LinkedIn. But why do we have a mental health crisis in this country? Anyone? What's the fundamental reason? There are a variety of reasons, but is there one thing that you believe is the main factor here? Anyone? Stress? Yes?
Isolation. Yeah, loneliness.
What was that?
Isolation.
Isolation? Good. Well, you get stress from isolation. So anyone heard of the Harvard study? It's the longest study ever done, which tracked presidents even, to see what made people live long and happy lives. And they found that it wasn't so much to do with smoking and exercise, although yes, they're very important, but the main factor is your relationships. Now, we're a bit unorthodox. There are a lot of corporates out there who take a very, very professional, I'll use that euphemism, professional approach to their lifestyle. You come in, you do your work, hi Barry, how you doing? And then that's it, you go home, and maybe you go for some drinks on a Friday night, and that's it. We are constantly hanging out, and we really do have this extended family. It's not just a throwaway word. We've developed some really amazing friends all across the country, and we are nationwide. So if you want to feel a sense of belonging, you're definitely going to find that with us. But if you come over to our stand, you'll see a whole bunch of videos of what we get up to. We go on trips abroad all the time, all sorts of things. So let's move on. Now, this is the other thing that's quite close to my heart. So I was in renewable energy for nearly 3 years, and everyone recognizes that environmentalism is absolutely fundamental to our future. Sustainable development, we all know about it, but what are we actually doing about this? So we're now going through this process of doing more, let's say, green work in the surveying industry in order to raise building standards. If we raise surveying standards, then we raise building standards. And yeah, as you can see, there I am in my calorie surplus. So what I'm fearful of is that if we don't make this industry attractive enough, an industry where people want to work in it, we're going to get this brain drain, this idiocracy that seeps in. How many of you have heard of that news article where the child died from mold exposure? Pretty much everyone has heard about this. But we've been writing about this in our building survey reports, the dangers of mold, ever since we were doing building surveys. So I honestly believe that you, all of you, you are part of everyone's future. There is this wider impact, and what you say in your report can literally save lives. So please, don't for 1 second undersell yourselves. You're doing very important work here. By understanding the health and safety aspects of building work, you can all achieve this. So that's a bit on sustainable development. And of course, as I've mentioned before, we're a multidisciplinary surveying practice. So we do all your standard things like building surveys and valuations, but we're trying to do it in a more sustainable development edge. It's gradual, takes time for there to be more demand, but speaking of which, we're now lining up 1 or 2 projects, let's say government orientated, where they are using our approach to raise those building standards in a green light. We could, of course, do the more exotic things like project management, expert witness. So going back to community, we have such a large and lovely team of surveyors who are happy to help you out with anything that you want to get involved in. So if you want to focus a little bit more on, let's say, investment and land development, how many people here are interested in doing property development work? Raise your hands, please. Yes? Okay. It doesn't get spoken about enough, but let me tell you a small secret here, which is fast not becoming a secret, I think. I didn't actually want to become a surveyor when I started out. I wanted to be a property developer. But having moved into renewable energy, there was a lot of surveying work. And I realized, oh, okay, this is what surveying is. And I feel that surveying isn't really advertised as well as it was, at least back in those days. Hopefully, and I think especially with SAVA, we're now making this a lot more mainstream. It's absolutely crucial type of area of work for civilization. As I say, if surveyors go, building standards go, and then idiocracy creeps in. We obviously don't want that. But yes, going back to development work, so with our community, we put an emphasis on everyone acquiring assets. It's not just about cash, earning more, yes, but how are you investing that? So one of our mottos, wealth and wider impact. We want you to be earning more. And if you say to one of our team members, and they have hands-on building experience, they do their own projects, and you say to them, listen, I've got this thing, thinking of buying it. What do you think? You will have a whole plethora of team members looking to help you out. So we're all looking out for one another here, and it's expected. That is part of our ethos. So with cost of living going up, we need to start earning more and having a larger number of assets. As I say, we've got to put food on the table. Training. Everyone wants to complete their APC, don't they? I don't need to put your hands up. You all want to become MREX, I'm sure. So we subsidize APC training as well as SAVA. We try to accommodate everyone, but of course there's always that budget to contend with. Speaking of which, I'm very happy to say, I'm not sure if I should really announce this just yet, because it's probably going to scare the competition a bit too much, but we've lined up a significant amount of finance which should be coming our way, it will be coming our way by the end of this year. So if you're interested in joining us, now's a good time to get your foot in the door. You can start to invest in your training. And we're not the type of company, and there are some companies out there who make you wait. They say, you're not ready, you need more training. Dare I say, we throw you a little bit in the deep end, and we say, even when you think you might not be ready to sit your exam, we'll say, no, you can do it. And we'll help you through it. So, that's as far as training goes. Of course, we have different programs. This is more for graduates. And you just apply online. As I say, we have our stand over there. It's all the way at the end, basically where the toilets are. Just hand over your details, we'll get in touch, let us know when you're finishing. Some of you have already graduated, others have a way to go, that's fine. But keep in touch and don't be a stranger. So you don't need to work for the company to come and hang out with us either. So we're very hospitable. If we have a social event, some members of staff, they had to leave us for whatever reason. They had to relocate, although we are now nationwide, but at the time they had to go and do something else. They still come and see us, and they still help us out from time to time. So we try to maintain that open door for everyone. So yeah, in terms of, this is more for graduates, but when you make your application to us, obviously you already know this, make sure the CV is in the correct format, enclose your portfolio. If we can see what it is you've been working on, then great. That helps us make a more informed decision. And then we'll just have a chat with you. By the way, our interviews are not your standard interviews, they're more like friendly conversations, So, okay, now we're on to the big one. And this is where we really set ourselves apart. We're going to be giving up some of our best kept secrets now. I think now's the time to tell people. Certainly everyone in the company knows about this. We want to reward people for good work. I'm in the trenches as well. I do building surveys every so often, and I know what it feels like. And so we're all in it together, and the company rewards everyone for doing good work with monthly bonuses, but the big one is this one right here. I'm going to take a risk here and ask you, how many companies, let's say, how many surveying practices do you know who do this? Annual profit share given to staff. How many, show of hands. Anyone know a surveying practice that does this? Good, so I truly am mad. Because when I first raised the idea with our financial consultants, they said, bah, maybe 5-10% for management. Why just management? Why not for the whole surveying team? Why not for everyone? No, a bit too much. So what about 15%? No, it's too much. What about 20%? You're crazy. I finally settled on 25%, and that's just given to staff at the end of every year. That's our profit share scheme. But as I said before, it's not just about earning cash. We want you to have assets as well. So we have an EMI scheme. Tell me, examples of assets. Property, we know. Other assets? Stocks and shares, right? Shares. We give share options. Again, how many surveying practices do that? Please raise your hand if you know of any. Come on, at least one, surely. No? Okay, so does that sound like we're onto something good here? Good. So this is all available to staff. Now, this is all subject to performance and duration at the company, but the longer you stay with us and the better work that you do, the more share options you can take. So I realized, wow, actually, we're fast becoming more cooperative, staff-owned and staff-led. So I would go so far as to say that maybe we have the best of both worlds, because you'll get some freelancers, they go and do their own thing a little bit, but there are risks associated with that. You don't know if you're going to get the work that you need next month to pay the rent or mortgage. And often the, let's say, one-man bands, no disrespect, some of us have been there, they have to charge very little to compete with those bigger companies, those bigger brands, with their bigger teams, bigger systems. So I heard recently someone was charging £200 for a full building survey. So they have to do this cheap work and a lot of it to get by, when they might as well just come with us. So guess what? We do actually get a lot of freelancers, people who had their own sole practitioner business. They come and join us because not only do they earn more, not just in cash, but also in share option, but they get the community aspect as well. They get all of these other benefits. So private healthcare, dental care, we mentioned all the social stuff. We've got some big annual events, not just Christmas party, but during the summer as well. And tiny little things like remembering someone's birthday. You may have been in companies where it happens to be your birthday. No one really cares because they don't seem to care enough about you. That happens, and we in other companies I've seen it happen. I think we want people to be valued, which they are. So little things like that, they do make a difference, and it all ties in with mental health, making sure that we restore the sense of community again. And charity work. The more budget we have to play with at the end of every year, if we have, whatever profits we have, we'll take a set percentage and we give that to charity. Everyone has their own individual charity in the company. So you can donate to whomever you want via the company. Okay, so, fairly short and sweet. Am I still within time? Literally 2 minutes. Okay, great. So, any questions? These are our frequently asked questions, but maybe have some questions of your own. Go ahead. Yes.
It got raised in the last talk. Obviously, both guys had different views on how many surveys should be done a week and things. What would your company expect from your surveyors?
Sorry, could you say that again?
So they both had different ideas on how many surveys
you should do in a week.
That you should do in a week. What would you expect from your surveyors?
It always comes back to how long is a piece of string. Are you doing a big mansion? So sometimes we do the celebrity houses. They'll take a long time, as you can imagine. they're small, if they're standard properties, it really depends. We don't want to overwork people, but we also want you to be. It's quite performance based. Now, I'll be quite honest with you. We don't want people who shy away from hard work. We live by that cliche maxim of work hard, play hard, because we want people to be earning more. But in order for the company to pay more, they have to be servicing more work, or at least higher value work. But that will come as they level up. They become accredited, they do different, they gain competencies in different specialisms. So to answer your question, it depends. A few a week, maybe 5, 6. Some of them are phenomenal performers. One of our members of staff, I think he's around the back there, just absolutely smashes them out. But maintaining quality, because we don't want to sacrifice on that ever. So it's that age-old quality, quantity dichotomy. But hopefully that answers your question. Anyone else?
Any more questions for Nicholas at all? No? No? Okay. In that case, let's thank Nicholas for his time. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Great, guys. Come and see us at the stand. Thank you.
Cheers, Nicholas. Thank you.
Or just drop us an email here if you like.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you.